Hey guys, welcome to the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the place where possibilities become perspective. Guys, welcome into a very special edition of the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the Happy New Year's edition. And today, I first off want to say Happy New Year's to you, or Happy New Year's Eve, as I'm dropping this on December 31st. Hopefully, I'm getting ahead of the new year for you because I want to talk about goals, and I want to talk about goals in a very specific way. Okay. And so if this episode is for you, if this experience is for you, then you are the kind of person who you have set many New Year's resolutions, you've set goals for yourself, and many times, by no fault of your own, you've set out to achieve something new, but you've kept the old thinking, habits, patterns, approach. So you've got things that you desire to achieve in 2026 that are new. You've never experienced them. You've never achieved them. You've never attained them. However, in your pursuit of something new, you've retained the old. And what I want to address today is, if you desire to achieve something new, then we must align something new. New thinking, new habits, new patterns, new approach. And I want to use a personal training, physical fitness analogy. And I want to introduce you to something that I believe will help us to unpack this in a way that is not only applicable, but helps you to understand it a little better. So many of you may, or actually may not know, that I am a 2-time certified personal trainer. And so in the process of getting my certification, in the textbook that we needed to study in order to take the written test, there's a chapter, and there's a chapter that is dedicated to outlining all the various training modalities. That's just a fancy name for ways to train the physical body. Okay. And in that chapter, the beginning portion of that chapter talked about something called the law of specificity. The law of specificity. Others call it the principle of specificity. And what the law or principle of specificity basically says, if you desire to achieve a specific outcome, then you must train in a specific modality. So let me unpack this for you. Let's say, for example, your goal is to enlarge your muscle size, right? You want to get bigger in your where your muscles are concerned. You want them to grow. It's called hypertrophy, triggering muscle synthesis and the protein synthesis, and making sure that your muscle enlarges. It increases in its size, in its density, in its strength. Okay. So if that was your goal, then you have to undergo what's called, for example, strength training or hypertrophy training. This usually involves less sets, less reps, but higher or greater weight, right? So rather than lifting maybe 20% of your max capacity, maybe you could lift, right, at a maximum, you could curl a 50 pound dumbbell. That's, say, for example, you could curl 50 pounds, right? But let's say you go to the rack and you find, what's 20% of 50? 10, right? You find a 10-pound dumbbell and you rep that out for 50 reps, right? It's certainly going to do something, right? But it's not going to trigger the growth that you desire because you're not high enough towards your max capacity. Now, if you took that 50-pounder and you were able to curl that for 5 times and rest, 5 more and rest, 5 more and rest, then you are putting the adequate amount of tension and weight, right? It's called time under tension. You're putting the adequate amount of weight, the adequate amount of tension on that muscle in order to trigger the growth or the change or the transformation that you desire. In the same way, if your goal was to increase your muscle size, and I told you, hey, let's go outside and let's run around the block 50 times, are you going to achieve your goal? Probably not, because that is more aerobic, more cardio-based training. It's a modality that will increase endurance and speed and flexibility and mobility, but is not conducive, is not aligned with achieving hypertrophy, muscle growth, muscle development. I explain that because many times we go into the new year, 2026, and I want to, and you fill in the blank. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. I want to improve here. I want to improve there. I want this to change. I want that to improve. I want to elevate here. I want to explode here. I want to expand here. I want to increase here. I want to, all of these different things that you want to do. And those are all good things to want to do and to desire to do. But if the training isn't aligned with the goals, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Just like a person who wants to increase their muscle size, they want to just run around the block. Their effort is there, the work is there, the sweat is there, but it's just all invested in the wrong kind of modality. So you're putting all of this effort into an approach that is not aligned with achieving the result that you desire. I hope and pray that you're tracking with me. And so what I want to talk about today, and I've already really talked about it, but I really want to just draw your attention to specific goals require specific training, or specific goals require specific work ethic. It's alignment that is the key. Just like in a car, right? You ever drove a car that's out of alignment? It's a real shaky ride. You're all over the place, right? Because it's not aligned. It needs to have some work done on it so that everything is aligned so that the drive can be smooth. In the same way, our lives can feel rocky, like it's all over the place. Why? Because we don't have an internal alignment. Our thinking, our speaking, our actions, they're not aligned, they're not conducive, they're not in congruency with the intended or the desired result, which is your goal. So again, utilizing this law of specificity. Specific goal requires specific training. One other analogy that I want to point out, and then I just want to give you a quick call to action here. A lot of times people go into the gym, right? That's my favorite place. I call it my home away from home, my second sanctuary, right? AKA the gym. That's my spot, man. That's my place. And God meets me there. So it's very therapeutic. It's very spiritual for me. It's a form of devotion and a form of connecting with God, and God downloads a lot for me in that training session. So it's not only working my body and improving my body temple, but it's also improving my mind and my spirit and everything, my emotional regulation, right? My nervous system, everything is coming online and everything's being improved. And so it's a big deal for me, personal training. But many times people go into the gym and they exercise. Perhaps you're one of them. I just want to go to the gym and exercise. And that's totally fine. If your goal is just to maybe not gain weight, you just want to keep and maintain your weight. Even if you want to lose weight, right? Or you just want to feel better. You want to release some hormones, release some tension and some stress. You just want to keep a certain quality of life where your physical body is concerned. Hey, exercise is awesome, right? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour of exercise is totally fine. But what I've discovered is that many times, as we're continuing with this parallel, people are exercising as it concerns their goals. Because see, exercise is literally moving your body. The fact that on this video, I've been moving my hands a lot, right? So I'm gonna keep them down for a few seconds here. I'm exercising. As I lean forward, I'm exercising. As I'm moving my hands, I'm exercising. Why? Because exercising is movement. There's no rule around what exercise looks like. I'm sitting in a chair right now. I remember a young lady that was online. She grew to hundreds of thousands of followers because the young lady had become very overweight. And when she started her transformation journey, she started off with exercises in the chair. And so a lot of people could connect with her. A lot of people could relate to her. And so she grew a really, really big following, but all of her exercise was in the chair. And so I share that and I say that because I want you to know that exercise is just movement. However, training, when you're in a training session, now you are applying the law of specificity, right? Now you are getting to alignment. My goal is to be faster. So we're going to go to a track and we're going to run and we're going to stretch and we're going to do core work and we're going to do balance work and we're going to do mobility work. I want my muscles to get larger and grow. Okay, then we're going to go to the gym and we're going to do some power sets. We're going to do some pyramid sets. We're going to do some, reps until failure so that we can get down into that deep, dense muscle, right? And really build up that muscle from the bottom up, right? Depending on the goal, the training has to align. So what am I saying in all of this? Let's stop exercising. Let's stop going into the next year desiring something specific, but doing something very generic. Stop going into the next year having a very specific goal that you desire to achieve, but going about it in a very general, generic way. The approach has to align the achievement, or the approach has to align with the desired achievement. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time. The training has to align, the approach has to align with the desired achievement, right? It can't be specific on the outcome, but be generic and general with the work, with the approach, with the effort that you're putting in to accomplishing that goal. I hope and pray that makes sense. It's like saying, hey, I'm gonna, cross the finish line of the Boston Marathon, but then getting on an airplane and flying out to San Diego. It's not aligned. You're never gonna cross the finish line that's located in Boston on the East Coast while running a race out here on the West Coast. I think I've given enough analogies, and I just really hope and pray that you hear my heart, because I want you going into 2026, more than anything. You may accomplish your goals, you may not, depending on how many of them you have. You may accomplish some and others you may not. They may need to be 2027 goals, depending on how large they are, right? But all in all, I just hope that you hear my heart and that you understand the things that I've outlined. And I want to offer you something. I'm going to be creating some resources, maybe like a PDF or something like that. Just something simple that you can download and you can utilize to help put these things in place. But I also want to offer you down below not only that resource, but I want to also offer you what I call a free clarity call. What I've discovered is transformation happens through conversations, getting clear, getting clear about what it is that is required of you in order to achieve a particular goal. And so please, if this is you, if this has made sense to you, if you're watching on the tube, and you should be watching on the tube, or if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms that I'm available through, then please click the link that is in the description, no matter where you are, and get on that free clarity call. I'm not going to upsell you. I'm not going to swindle you. I'm not going to spam you. It's a free call. There's no strings attached. It's just a quick conversation to help you to identify some things that maybe you've never considered that you might need to consider as you go into this new year. Okay. So that's really it. Oh, by the way, just want to continue to push this because I think it's a very powerful tool in the description of this podcast. Okay. Now, if you're watching on the tube, the link isn't there, but you can find the link to the podcast episode if you're watching on the tube and get over to a podcast platform, whether it's Apple, whether it's my website. I'm the possible podcast.com. And I want you to click the link in that description on the podcast platform. It's ask a question, and I'm going to create a custom episode just for you. Because many times we listen to our favorite podcasters or YouTubers, and we don't have any direct contact with them. We can't ask them questions and get a direct answer back. And I just want you guys to know that I am still at that place where I'm able to take these personal requests. Now, there will come a day where I won't be as accessible. I won't be able to accommodate this kind of direct, intimate communication. But right now I am. So take advantage of it. Maybe there's something I've said through this video that you're curious about. Maybe there's something I've said in the past or some other video or content that you've seen of me and you have a question, or you just desire for me to cover a specific topic in my next episode. Well, click that link. It is free, won't cost you anything, and it is anonymous. So I don't know who you are. It doesn't reveal your number. It doesn't reveal who you are. It just reveals your question. And I'm going to take those questions all year long, and I'm going to create a bonus episode every week based upon those questions so that you can get your answers and that you can move forward in whatever you believe God has called and created you to move forward on. All right. So that's it. Love you guys, praying for you guys, believing in you guys. Until next time, please remember, okay, the better we can relate to ourselves, the better we can create for ourselves, and most importantly, those around us. All right. God bless you. Click those links, get on these calls, get these resources. I just can't wait to see what God is going to do in your life in 2026. All right. God bless.